Well, we're getting better. We've got lucky. We won all 4 of our duels so far this year. It's a difficult season with the COVID. Normal season, we get 3 or 4 weeks to prepare for our first match. We had our first match last week, and we had 6 practices. I mean, it's hard to get the kids' bodies ready for it and get their techniques up to par. We did the best we could in 6 practices. We didn't look that great last week. We only got 1 more or 2 more practices in, and then we wrestled today. So I feel like our technique's getting better. They're getting in better shape, but it's really hard. It's really hard. The guys need more time. And it's just COVID has got everything messed up, and we're doing the best we can with what we got. We're trying to be flexible as a team. I've got guys that are playing baseball and track and bass fishing, which I didn't know was a sport, and travel soccer. So, I mean, I've got about half my team that I have to be flexible with their practices and meets and try to keep all the coaches happy. So I may not have the strongest team every time we have a match. We do the best we can. And I got one kid that's out with COVID right now. He doesn't have COVID. He was exposed, so he's out. My varsity 160-pounder. So luckily I had a backup. So I didn't have to forfeit that. So. But you were probably looking at it a couple months ago. You maybe not even knew you were going to be able to have a season. So Just to have a season, obviously, has to be. I mean, it's good for these kids. These kids, for what's it been, a full year and a couple months, have been remote learning, coming to school a little bit. They haven't been getting the high school experience that they deserve. They miss out on their homecoming and their normal football seasons and things that kids need to grow up and learn how to socialize with other kids and the sport and compete. It was going to be an injustice for the kids to not have any season. At least we're getting a shortened season. They're not getting a state tournament, but they're getting something. These kids are excited to get out here and get to work. I got to try to be excited for them as a coach and just give them the best I can and get them the best they can, get them competing, and hopefully we have a good year. And so far we started off good. We're 4-0. Obviously you got, like what you saw out there against Carterville, I think particular you had some competitive matches out there that your kids were able to find a way. I'm sure as a coach you like to kind of see that as well, not only to get the wins, but to see your kids compete out there and get those wins. That's I mean, with this, normally we chase competition, and we go out of the area and we wrestle some in Missouri and Kentucky. We go up north and wrestle some Chicago teams, and we're chasing, trying to get our kids ready for the state series. Well, there is no state series this year, and we can't wrestle out of the COVID region. So I've moved kids around a little bit, which I probably wouldn't do in the past. That keeps the score closer than it has to be, but trying to chase the matchups for kids to let them experience the matchups and get better, so they can just get better by wrestling and not worrying about the team winning losses, letting the kids get the experience of competing and the battle. I mean, obviously we can talk like a lot of kids, but particularly like your 152 out there, big on the points wise, but you always have to like when you get that pinfall out there as opposed to the decision. So you really kind of came through in that third period to get that pinfall. Talk a little bit about that. I mean, that's when although wrestling is an individual sport, it is a team sport too. And we preach we got to find a way in these matchups to get pins, because those pins are going to make a difference between winning and losing a lot of these duels. And Luke, my 152, fought hard the whole match, and he was able to get that pin at the end, which was big. It took some pressure off some other kids, so we weren't looking at the scoreboard seeing we were behind. It gave us a little bit of a lead, and it lets the other kids, not have that pressure like, oh, I got to win, and not maybe wrestle as good as they could.